Welcome if it's your first time here, and welcome back if you're returning. My name is Matt, the Unprofessional Hobbyist, and I have a very good way to start Season 3 of the Community Spotlight. So, standing aloft the great wall of ancient terror, covered in his bespoke armour, adorned by the symbols of his chapter, the Reclaimers of Dawn, I have the great privilege and honour today of introducing to you Chapter Master Valrak.
Hello, welcome to myself, and welcome to you as well. Welcome to the domain of terror, let's say. There we go.
Welcome to the second time of doing this because I forgot to press record the first time.
It's okay, it's alright. Second time is always better. That's what you say.
So welcome to the series. We've got some standard questions which I ask everyone. Then we're going to have a little break for a cup of tea, obviously, because we're both English. And then some non-standard questions.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready. Fire away.
How did you get into the hobby of tabletop wargaming?
I was bought a Orc box set for I think it was my 10th or 11th birthday. I didn't know what 40k was. I just like collecting models. I used to get Spitfires, Lancaster bombers, that kind of stuff. And someone bought me some Orcs, and it just went on from there. Really, I was addicted.
What type of hobbyist are you? A painter, collector, gamer, or a bit of a mix?
I would say more of a collector, though I am getting into the gaming aspect now. I don't dislike painting. I think painting's okay, but it's not the best element of it. It's probably because I'm not a decent painter. I prefer kit bashing. I think kit bashing is something that I love to do. But once I put them in the cabinet and they look all nice, I think that is an awesome thing to have.
Do you purely play 40k or collect 40k, or are you starting to spread out?
I am mainly 40k. When it comes to AOS, I don't dislike AOS. It's just that I'm not attached to the lore. So for me to buy into a product, for me to collect something for my Space Marines, I have to be really behind that force in terms of lore. I will be getting into Warhammer Fantasy when they drop because I'm a huge Bretonnia fan as well. So I'm just waiting for that game to come back around, as they say.
What was the first thing that caught your eye when you were given the box of Orcs? Was it the futuristic element to it, or the aesthetic?
It was. I think it was I think it was something different. They were basically monsters in buggies and bikes, and I'm like, what the hell is this? The actual funny story is when I got the Orcs, my friend came round, and he was like, oh, these are cool. I'm going to send my mum to go and get some. And he returned, and he had Space Marines. And I was like, wow, they come in human format? And then that was it. I was set then as a Space Marine player. And I just went on from there, yeah. So it was the sci-fi element really attracted me to it.
What advice would you give someone just starting out in the hobby, or maybe your younger self, now you've been involved a few years?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably say take your time. Don't jump into the deep end. I see too many people jump in and buy massive armies in one go, and then they end up on eBay a month later. Buy one box, paint it, see if you like it, and then just buy another box or a character or a HQ choice or something like that. Just do one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. This is a hobby where you can easily be overwhelmed. I think everyone has a pile of shame, so just baby steps.
Have you ever had an extended period out of the hobby?
Yes, when I was going through high school, high school and my late teens really, because I was really into it when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, but once I started high school, I really stopped it then. I really got into it after I left the army, and that's when it wasn't more the hobby side, it was more of the books. I started to read the Horus Heresy again. Sorry, I should have said I started to read the Horus Heresy for the first time. And that's when I started to get into more the collecting side of things again, and back on this road.
How did you get back in to the hobby? Was it purely through the books, was it? Or did you walk past the Games Workshop and was like, oh wow, these have evolved so much?
It was mainly the Horus Rising coming out in book, but it was actually a funny story when I was in basic training. I was down in Bassingbourn Barracks, and I went in as it used to be called Boy Soldier, I think it's called Army Foundation College now. And you had to pick two hobbies to fill up your night time. So people were doing like we actually had like a ski thing at Bassingbourne, so people were like doing skiing, some people were doing boxing, and there was something called wargaming. And me being me, I didn't think of it as 40k. I thought I'm going to learn about Napoleon. I'm going to learn about like Waterloo, like battle tactics. And I thought that may be pretty decent to have if I'm going into the service, right? I can learn about battles. And when they come and picked me up to take me to that, it was like me and like 2 other people who were doing it. And we were marked, like this is winter time, so it's pitch black in a barracks. We're being marched down to like the most shadiest place you can ever think of. Like we went into because it used to be an aircraft place, so it's an aircraft bunker. And he took us into one of these like old bunkers, and the guy switched on the lights, and he had the biggest collection of Space Marines / Necrons I've ever seen in my life. And he was like, "Yeah, I collect this. And this is what wargaming is, so I'm going to teach you how to play it." I'm like, "Oh, I know this." So yeah, it was that kind of like, "Oh yeah, I remember this. I used to do this as a kid." But when it came out, it was like the books and stuff. But that was kind of like, "Oh, this is still a thing. This is awesome."
What's the best part of the hobby for you?
Do you know what? The best part of the hobby is probably not actually the hobby. It's with my YouTube, the people I've met. I've met some absolutely brilliant people, like friends for life, like just fantastic, great people. And to have them as my friends for all time now is probably the best thing that this hobby's ever done for me. Is just meeting those new people.
On the flip side, what's the worst part about the hobby for you?
The prices have not been too good lately, but again, it's some like if I'm looking at it from a YouTube aspect, you have the good and bad in individuals. Let's say, like you can have the greatest people in the world, but sometimes you meet some of the not so good people in the world. Let's try and be nice, and that could be a bit of a pain sometimes.
What keeps you in the hobby, though?
What keeps me in the hobby?
Because I know that YouTube isn't your full-time job, is it?
Yeah, it's no. YouTube's just like a side gig. I love doing it, but I can pack up and leave tomorrow if I wanted to. I think it's 2 things. Again, it's the people I've met, my friends who are still playing it, but also I absolutely love these little tiny spacemen. I love painting them. I get so much happiness just sitting down, reading the books about them, reading the battles, painting them as the chapters I paint them as. It's just fun. It's just it gives me something to do, and it makes me feel happy while I'm doing it. So yeah, I'll keep doing it until I don't feel happy, I suppose.
How do you deal with hobby burnout or like a lack of mojo?
I've actually been experiencing this quite a lot lately, and there's 2 things. Again, because I have my YouTube channel, I have some absolutely fantastic support when it comes to members, subscribers. Always, "Oh, Valrak, you're doing amazing. Do this, do that," showing me their stuff, which is fantastic. But I always find maybe just going away and doing like an audio book or reading a book to get some inspiration again, and just like listen to Space Marines Crush Heretics or Commissar Kane, purging away. It really gives you that like pushing the back, like, "Oh, let's get back into this because this is a kick-ass IP that you're attached to. So let's do it."
Has anyone inspired your hobbying style or life?
There is one channel which really made me get into YouTube. I'm not too sure people will recognize this channel at all, but it was a chap called Templar Crusade 01 back in the day.
Brian the legend. Yeah.
Brian the legend. I've actually met Brian at events and stuff. Actually, I consider us friends now, myself and Brian. But I used to be dedicated to that channel because he was doing Imperial Fists during the Horus Heresy. Like, he was doing the Horus Heresy stuff before Horus Heresy was a thing, kind of in place, like hosting like the Siege of Terror event, which I would love to have gone to, but I just didn't have any models back then. So I used to just log on every day and watch his video logs, and it was incredible. It's such an inspiration, really. It's one of the best channels I've ever watched on YouTube.
Yeah, same for me. I was away for 4 years, nearly constant. I came back and just binged his channel. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And he's, again, like the stuff he was making, like the green stuff he was sculpting. Like, I remember he had a Nurgle Titan. He was doing like Thunderhawks and stuff, scoping it all. I was like, this is, for someone like you've never seen this before. It's like, this is a whole different level. It's amazing. Loved every second of it.
If your budget was unlimited, but you could only ever buy one army, what would it be?
I'm sure people are going to be no surprise. It would be Space Marines. It is Space Marines at the moment. I am 150 million% a Space Marine fanboy. I love everything about Space Marines. How chunky their armor is. Just everything. I just love Space Marines. I would marry them if I could. That's how much I love them.
What do you hope to improve about your hobby in the future?
Hobbying. I would love to learn green stuff, but I had a problem. Like, the last time I used green stuff, I got it stuck in my eyebrow, and I didn't see it was stuck in my eyebrow. I had to end up shaving off half my eyebrow. So that was like a lesson, like, I'm never touching this again. But I would love to learn to sculpt and, make cloaks and stuff, and fur, and just like, abs and stuff like that on my Space Marines and everything like that. But I haven't got that skill at the moment. So if I could learn that, I think that would be like the next big step for me.
Yeah, so if Barry Watkins and Various on Instagram suddenly goes missing, we know he's in the bunker, yeah? Yeah,
I know Baz. Baz is a great guy. Baz did my Reclaimer, Chapter Master Valrak for the Reclaimers. Absolutely amazing. I think he's doing Dante at the moment, if I'm not mistaken.
He's like slowly sculpting every single alp, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like, I say to him, how do you do this? Like, this is not humanly possible. It's just gorgeous. Everything he touches is gorgeous.
So, let's move on to non-standard questions.
Sure, hit me.
And have a cup of tea first. 1 second. Some Forge World kits have gone into plastic like the Baneblade and the Valkyrie. Have you got a kit from Forge World that you'd like to see go into plastic?
I would like the Thunderhawk to go plastic. I want the big ones, Stormbird, Thunderhawk. I want those big ones to go plastic. Because I've bought a Stormbird, right? And I've been putting it together. And it's probably one of the worst hobby experiences of my life. How warped it was, the gaps. It's just not a nice thing. I'll be completely honest. It's just not nice. So if they can put that in plastic and make it a bit more neater, I'll be all for that.
Games Workshop are kicking off the Combat Patrol box sets, which are brilliant value and a good way of starting an army. If you were given the chance of making a Combat Patrol box set, say 1 HQ, 1 troop, 1 fast attack, 1 heavy support, what would be in it and which army would it be for?
Oh, this is a really good one. I think it would have to be the Space Marines. The Space Marine one is probably not the best one so far. And I'm going to look at this as an Imperial fist. So what, 1 HQ,
yeah.
I would probably take... either a chaplain. So I'll go with a captain, because the rerolling ones. What troop choice? I would go with intercessors, auto bolters, 10-man squad of those. What did we say? Fast attack. Fast attack, inceptors, because of bolters again. This is like a pure bolter build. What was it? Elite.
And then heavy support.
Heavy support, eradicators. Eradicators. There we go. Hopefully, like a 6-man squad of eradicators, not a 3-man squad.
Yeah.
I'll get as much as possible. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
3D printing is starting to take off at a rapid pace. Do you believe Games Workshop will ever go down the route of selling STL files?
Do you know what? That's a really good... I've spoken about this before. I think maybe one of the problems with that is, again, this is coming from my technical look at it. I may be completely wrong saying that, but if they sell that file, can then that file just be sent to other people? That might be like a profit loss for them. So if I buy a Baneblade, can I just give it to my friends, a 3D printed Baneblade kind of thing? If it couldn't, then I think it could be a general route for them to do that. But if they could, I think they may be shooting themselves in the foot doing that.
When do you think we'll see the phasing out of Firstborn inverted hyphen thingies? Is it Firstborn Marines? Do you think it'll be next edition, or do you think people are too invested in them?
I said at the launch of 8th edition, I always stated, and people snapped at me for this, I said this is the beginning of the end for the Firstborn Marine. I stated at the start of 8th edition, within the next 10 years from 8th, I think the Firstborn range will be completely phased out. When I say completely phased out, the main core aspect of the Firstborn Marine will be gone. I think you will still have maybe like a veteran squad of Firstborn Marines and stuff like that. But I think the main bulk of the Primaris range would have taken over the Space Marine range then. for Warhammer 40,000. And yeah, so well, how long now? Maybe another 5 years before it's all completely gone, I say.
Yeah. Is there a firm line between the good guys and the bad guys in the Warhammer 40,000 universe? Or is that line a bit wibbly-wobbly and leaking in parts?
Definitely, the Space Marines are the good guys. The Space Marines are the good guys of Warhammer 40,000. I keep saying this to everyone. Chaos are the bad guys. This is why Chaos Marines have 1 wound. Because those guys are the bad guys and they deserve 1 wound. This is why Space Marines have 2 wounds, because they are the good guys. I'm joking, by the way, for people start raging and start posting comments. Everyone is as bad as each other, I always say. But Space Marines are the least bad people. There we go.
Would you prefer to see a whole new race of, say, 18 units, or 18 units spread across the Xenos and Chaos factions?
Oh, that is a good one. You see, I love new stuff.
Everyone does. Shiny,
this is shiny, right? Yeah, I'm like a magpie. As much as I did a video the other day about squats coming back and stuff like that. As much as I would love to see squats reintroduced to 40k, I think people deserve the models that haven't had the love within years to have them redone before a new race gets introduced. Once they do those models for those factions and give them the love, then yeah, bring on a new faction. Let's do it. So,
Eldar Aspect Warriors?
Aspect Warriors, maybe some Eldar Rangers, maybe some new Eldar Jet Bikes, Avatar of Cain, maybe. Yeah, all that funky stuff, let's say.
Yeah, because I think, with the pure size of the ability to make models now, like Be'lakor and Primarch, the Avatar doesn't really compare, does he? He's a bit...
Yeah. But I think if you look at most of the main things for the races, yeah, like they're that old, they just don't look good on the tabletop. This is one of my problems with Firstborn Marines. I love Firstborn Marines. Everyone thinks I'm a Primaris fanboy. It's just like when you put a Firstborn Marine next to a Primaris Marine, they look so odd. So when they start, maybe giving those new scopes, aka Horus Heresy, I'll start investing in some Firstborn Marines.
So are you enjoying 9th edition? The gaming aspect of it. Do you think it's more polished than, say, 7th or 8th?
Well, I really got into the gaming aspects again at the end of 7th. Like, I started to learn 7th, and then the rumours were coming out that 8th is coming, so I said, there's no point in me even learning this, because 8th is coming, and then within the next, I think, 2 months, 8th was out. Yeah. So when I took on 8th, I really enjoyed how easy it was to pick up 8th, because with 7th, there was so many different things, but 8th was just a bit more simplistic of a game. So for me, as what I do with my life and stuff, it was easy to learn, easy to play, get in and out the door and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. With 9th edition, I've only played a couple of games because, of course, everything that's been going on in the world. And one of the things that confuses me the most about 9th edition is all the terrain stuff. That's like a game within itself. Like with 8th edition, and as an Imperial Fist player, there was like, there's a building there, and I was like, I don't care. That was it. I just ignored it because
yeah.
I'm an Imperial. Now it's like, there's light cover, there's heavy cover,
dense cover,
yeah.
Scalable, breachable.
It's over 5 inches. Do I set to defend? There's so many things. Like I said, I was saying to someone, it's literally when you put a terrain down, it's like a game within itself now. I'm like, okay, all right, how do I do this? I can no longer just ignore terrain like it was no longer there. So I have to think now when I play games, which is probably a bad thing for me.
One thing I've noticed recently as well is that, Games Workshop did it in their preview for the US tournaments. It's putting the clear bases on the bottom of the terrain.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I've seen that as well, yeah. I was actually thinking, were they a Games Workshop themselves going to start doing that? Because technically, that's what the rule is for it. Shouldn't they provide the terrain with that type of stuff? Is they're making rules for that? Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I actually do like it because you get to see where the base is now, so there's no arguments and stuff. So yeah, props to whoever came up with that idea.
Have you got a unit in the game which you think deserves a bit of a rules bump because it doesn't quite fit the lore of the unit?
A lot of people are just they know what I'm going to say here, right? I love 8th edition because I had something called an executioner tank, and in 9th edition they broke my heart with it. They removed the fly keyword, so I can no longer put it on top of buildings and make like a portable defense platform. They well, they gave core word into things, and that doesn't have the core word, so I can't re-roll stuff. I would say, as an Imperial Fist player, when it comes to stuff like the Gatling cannons on those tanks and stuff like that, like the Gatling cannon on the Dreadnought as well, I think 6s on those should also grant you exploding. So
Yeah,
because with bolters you do it, but these are technically firing the same type of thing, but it's just a little bit different. So yeah, I think it's more of an army rule really, to grant exploding 6s on all shell cased stuff. Like with plasma, yeah, I understand no and stuff, but if it makes a bit of a bang, then give me some exploding 6s. And also let Imperial Fist be in the Devastate Doctrine for at least 2 turns, because yeah, after the first turn it's all downhill for us.
Good. So YouTubing, which is you're most known for, what's the backstory behind your channel? What made you start it in the first place?
Well, I used to run like a guild, let's say, called Vigilamoris. That's basically, for those of you who know Latin, it just means Death Watch, but in a fancier way. And we used to, well, we actually started for a game called Dark Millennium Online. Do you remember that MMO for 40k?
Yeah.
Way back. So I started it for that. I was actually searching for Space Marine guilds to join for it, and there was none. So I was like, do you know what? I'll start my own. What should I do to make it Imperial Fist? I said, no, let's make it where anyone can join. It's one of them chapters. So I said, I'm not going to rip off Death Watch. So we'll just make our own. It's kind of like the Night's Watch kind of thing. Like, anyone's welcome. And it just went on from there, really. I was doing YouTube videos. Like, it wasn't massive. It was just uploading games. We were playing on games like Space Marine. Then a game came out called Eternal Crusade. And as for all the faults that game had, it actually did bring a lot of traction to my channel in terms of, viewership and streaming. Like, that's when I started streaming the game and stuff, and people started coming to watch it and everything like that. Battlefleet Gothic was another big one. Like, I uploaded like some cinematics of Battlefleet Gothic, and within one night it got like over like 500,000 views, and that brought like, I remember like I uploaded 2 cinematics, and I woke up in the morning and it had like 10,000 extra subscribers. I was like, what the hell's going on here? And then when Eternal Crusade basically died, I just started to talk about lore and stuff. Like, this is the time 8th edition came out as well.
Yeah.
So with Guilliman coming back, I was doing videos like the return of Guilliman. There's a Primarch coming back, and people had started to enjoy that type of stuff. Just looking at the general broader sense of what's going on in the hobby and the news attached to it. I just got on from there, really. It's like, I always look at my channel like, I'm not a lore channel, even though I do a bit of lore videos now and then. A lot of people say I'm a news channel and stuff. I don't see me that. I just see myself as I talk about the hobby. People call me Rumour Rack and stuff like that, because all the rumours and stuff. The Leak Rack is a funny one. But yeah, I think it's a bit of everything. It's like, it's jack of all trades kind of channel, kind of thing. I say, massive of no.
Do you have a favourite type of content to produce? As you were saying, like a news, or you start doing more and more the old hobby hangouts where you'll be online every night now, isn't it? Yeah,
it is something I absolutely love more than anything else, is live streaming, because I'm someone who enjoys interaction between people. So, like, with all the stuff that happened with the pandemic and Corona and stuff, a lot of people were lonely, myself included. Like, I've got a family and stuff. I wasn't completely lonely, but I wasn't getting out, seeing my friends. So this became a way to like talk to people and stuff and meet new people and everything like that. So it just exploded from there, really. And now it's like you said, it's a nightly occurrence now. Like, I don't have a set time because, of course, I've got a family and stuff. I can't say, okay, I'm going live at this time because I may be doing something. But I definitely try to go live every single night when I have the time, just to entertain people.
During the pandemic, were you a TTS fan? Did you get involved in that?
I did, but I do enjoy TTS. But I've always said TTS for me was more of does this list work? Should I invest into said models? I'll try it out that way. But yeah, I had a few games, but I actually got to a point where I was playing it. I said I don't want to play this anymore because I actually just want to play with real dice and stuff. So I just gave up on TTS for a bit and just waited to it die down so I can actually throw proper dice.
Do you think producing content on a regular basis would affect your enjoyment in the hobby?
What do you mean, like YouTube videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, like people people expect like 3 or 4 videos a week from you. It's like, do you have to push yourself sometimes to produce the content?
I'd say yes and no. It's like sometimes like I won't upload a video for 3 days, not because I'm being lazy, it's because there's nothing to talk about. Like what my routine is because I have a lot of time because of the job I do and stuff like that. I basically sit at my computer, and I've always seen it like I want to try and make content that you would speak about with friends, like if you're around at a table. So, for example, my latest video, the squat rumors, that's basically just me talking like you're sat across a table. So, like, yeah, this is what I think, this is what I would like, type of stuff. So, if I have like an idea for that, I'll just sit here and record it. Like, I just record it. I put a bit of gameplay footage in the background if you want to watch that. And it's just me waffling on. Like, my production value is, like, if you look at Midwinter Minis with all the, like, his cuts and his amazing audio and the way he pans his shots, and then you look at mine, it's just a guy waffling. So, yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really. There's no pressure on me at all. I just make content just to do it. That's it, just to have a bit of fun.
Okay, big question time. A couple of comments online is, obviously, Shill Rack, League Rack.
Yeah.
Or that the bins at Games Workshop in Nottingham have locks on purely because you were once found inside them. Has that stuff now run its time, given like the maturing of your channel over the past couple of years?
Well, let's come to the Shill Rack thing. I think we actually made that up ourselves, and then people tried to take it from us to like try and like use it as an insult. But we laugh all the time, Shill Rack. Like we call ourselves Shill Rack constantly on my stream. I've always said I am a positive figure. Like, in life, I try to be as positive as possible. That doesn't mean, like, when there's something wrong, I won't talk about it. If you look at my channel, there's things I have been talking about which I don't agree with. It's just, I think people see the overall generalness of the positivity of my channel and label me as, like, a #1 GW fanboy, which I'm fine with. At the end of the day, I'd rather be a positive person than a negative person, because if I'm negative, then I'm probably just going to leave this computer in a negative state. And I personally don't want to do that. Like, I always say to myself, there's been so much going on in the real world, and every time you switch on the TV, something's wrong. So when I come into this room and I switch on my computer and I want to talk about stuff, I would try and be as positive as possible, because that's what I want to be. I want to be a positive person. In terms of Leak Rack, I enjoy spoilers, like, through anything. That's the kind of... I understand why people don't enjoy that type of stuff, which is completely fine. But with books, movies, TV shows, models, I like to know what's going to happen before it happens. I literally hate surprises. I know a lot of people say, well, the surprise is the best thing. I hate it. I literally hate surprises. So if I can get like a leak or something, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And if I can talk about it, then I'll talk about it and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think on your channel, every other video of your channel I haven't watched because I hate leaks. I hate spoilers. Yeah, I hate people who post pictures like the odd night before the Games Workshop preview. It's like, oh my god, I'll strangle you.
I can understand that, and like, people are different. Like, I won't go out my like. A lot of people think I leak the stuff. I don't. I actually get it offline, and because I have more of a
reach.
A reach, yeah, people think it's me. This is one of the problems what I went through at the time. It's like, I actually say in my videos, this is from such and such a place. And then I see online, Valrak said, this is coming. And I'm like, if they literally watch the first 20 seconds of the video, this is where I've read this from. The link is in the description. It's not me who's saying this. I'm just saying what this person said. And I'm giving my opinion on that said topic. There's been certain things which have come from me, which, like the World Eater Codex, the Black Templar stuff, all that type of stuff. And I put my name to that when I do say that this is coming from Alfarius, I always say, which is a secret contact I have, who a lot of people think who works for GW, and I literally have no idea who this person is. I don't know if it's a female, male, Xenos. I don't know if they work for Games Workshop. I don't know, because I don't ask. I don't ask that information at all. I don't want to know, to be fair. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's it's kind of a thing in this when you do rumors, because people will always label you as that main source, and even though you're not that source, if you get my opinion, and that can cause a lot of problems. Like, it has caused a lot of problems. Like, I go around now like clickbait rap and stuff like that, or he does it for clickbaiting and stuff. I've always said to people, I literally don't care if my videos get 100 views or 100,000 views, and that's down to because I don't do this for a job. I wouldn't ever do this as a job or thing. I think on YouTube, it's such a scary prospect to rely on trying to entertain people and do it that way, and especially with YouTube, because they can like change a policy and your entire channel could die within a day. So I'm like, oh yeah, and plus I enjoy what I do in real life, so yeah, that's what I do.
You've been accused of like fanboyism, but is that such a bad thing, given that most of us take away a lot more from the hobby? For example, I use the hobby as an escapism from real work stress and dealing with Muppets at work.
I think at the end of the day, right, for me, I love being a fanboy. I love this hobby. I love being happy. It gives me something to be happy about. It gives me something to enjoy in life. And like I said before, with a lot of things that go on in life and stuff, you want a little bit of happiness. And if people want to see me as a fanboy and like as a so-called white knight and stuff for Games Workshop, then yeah, at the end of the day, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I don't really care what other people think. I personally don't think it's a problem, to be fair with you. Yes, I understand that Games Workshop and some of their policies haven't been doing a lot of good stuff at the moment. And again, you talk about that, you put your opinion out there. Like, for example, with the whole Warhammer Plus thing, I'm not subject to that because of certain stuff that's happened with that. But it still doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out and paint some little plastic men, because I enjoy doing that. I love doing that.
Yeah, I think there's so much more to the hobby than just Games Workshop. It's
yeah, there's so much more. Yeah, lots. Yeah, lots.
You've just pressed on the big button this year, which is the monumental shift in the internet with regard to Games Workshop and Warhammer Plus.
Yeah.
Do you think it was unfairly panned from the start, or do you think their policy of gobbling up content?
I think there's two logical sides to look at this from. If you're looking at it from the IP side for Games Workshop, from what I've been told of people who know IP law, is that Games Workshop has to protect their IP, because if they don't, then they lose command of that IP, which will cost them millions, probably billions of pounds. So I can understand why they've come and said, right, stop making these fan contents, or you can't monetize it because then it'll affect our IP. But on the flip side of that coin, like going after people's Patreons, I think is a bit too far. Like, in a perfect world, I probably would have said, if they came to said individual and said to them, okay, yeah, you can still make these fan animations, but you can't monetize it on YouTube or anything like that, and then just leave like the Patreon alone or something. But I'm not too sure, again, legally. I'm sure someone in the comment section will inform me that even if they have Patreon, that might be against their IP and stuff. But the backlash we've seen from it now is been pretty big. Like, every GW video, I think, is getting more downvoted than it's getting upvoted. I've seen it on my channel because I mentioned this in a video I did a couple of weeks ago. I think people see me as like the next channel to Games Workshop in the terms of the fanboyism. So I've been dealing with a lot of people recently, like, oh, it's people like you who have ruined this hobby, etc., etc., etc. I'm like, I'm just enjoying it my own way, mate. If you don't like that, then you don't have to watch. Simple.
Have you got a favourite GW video game at the moment, or does everything just pale in comparison to Dawn of War?
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to say something very controversial. Dawn of War was an okay game. It wasn't the best game. The best game I've ever played for Warhammer 40,000 was Eternal Crusade. And I know a lot of people are going to rage at this. It wasn't down to what Eternal Crusade did in terms of, oh, how amazing this looks. It was the experiences I got from that game, playing with friends, meeting new friends, forming squads, just having a laugh at the end of the day. I never really had that with Dawn of War. So that's why I've always put Eternal Crusade at the top of my list, even though it broke my heart more than anything else. I would still put it down as my favoured 40k video game I've ever played.
For me, it's actually Final Liberation, the Epic game.
Oh yeah, but I don't think I was even playing video games back then. To be fair with you, yeah. But I've seen all the. Is it Commissar Holt, right?
Yeah. And then more recently, there's Rich at the Floorhammer podcast has made a table actually based on the Final Liberation video game. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome! That is amazing. That sounds epic.
Have you got any advice on people wanting to start their own YouTube channel?
Good question. From my experience, I would say be yourself. Don't make content because other people are making that content and they're getting the views. Always be true to yourself. Like, make the content which you want to put out. Like, because at the end of the day, the people you're going to be bringing over then are going to be people like you. You don't want to be giving like this false persona of like, I do this and that, and really you're not into that. And then you bring the kind of people who are into that, and then you're surrounded by people that you don't really agree with, kind of thing. So, if you're going to make a YouTube channel, just be true to yourself and have a fun time, because that's what it's about. It's about having fun. And don't concentrate on numbers. That's what I always say. I know YouTube is a numbers game, but once you start concentrating on view counts, subs and stuff like that, it can get you down and spiral and stuff when you start seeing, oh, this video didn't perform and stuff. But if you enjoy doing it, then, it's about fun. It's about that enjoyment. So enjoy it.
If you can go back in time a few years and give yourself a bit of advice when you were just starting out your channel, what would it be?
Oh, what would it be?
Primaris. Talk about Primaris.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the Primaris. Yes. It'd probably be. Oh, that's a really good. I don't really know, really. Oh boy. I'd probably say get into live streaming more than I did, because my first videos were just me talking, and now that I'm doing live streaming, I enjoy that a lot more. So yeah, probably just go down a live stream route earlier than I did.
When you got free time, who are your go-to creators and channels that you watch?
When it comes to YouTube channels and stuff like that, like I've got friends like Baldermore, Major Kill and stuff. I consider them my friends, but I don't really watch lore channels that much because I kind of know the lore because I've been such a fan of it for a long time. So what I tend to do is watch Batrep channels now. When I'm doing a bit of painting, I swing my monitor over and I put people like Hellstorm on, Vanguard Tactics, on the tabletop, tabletop tactics, just all the Batrep channels really, SN Battle Reports, just to learn the game a little bit more, because as a Space Marine fan, I really only know Space Marines, and when I say Space Marines, I really only know Imperial Fists or the Sons of Dawn chapters. So it's nice watching them and listening to them and learning what certain stuff can do. It just helps me out when I do end up fighting like an Eldar player. I kind of get a sense of maybe how to counter them, because they use that in a game with their Space Marines against them. So yeah, that's what I do.
So who would be your dream matchup if you could mix and match the channels? Like, for example, mine would be possibly Stephen Box Vanguard against Steve Pardo. I think that would be a good game.
So what? So you want me to? Who do I want to see play each other?
Yeah.
Who do I want to see play each other? This is a really hard one because there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I would probably like to, on a tournament type of setup. I think Vanguard Tactics is like the most high-rated channel I know when it comes to tabletop gaming.
Yeah. So
it's probably going to be them versus. Oh, I'm thinking of another channel now. Maybe Tabletop Titans. I know they're very kind of good when it comes to making lists and stuff. So maybe them. Like a UK versus, I think they're Canadian. Are they Canadian or American? I think they're American. UK versus Canadian, American kind of thing.
And then funsies, I think I would go Beard from Tabletop Tactics against DC from SN Battle Reports. I reckon that'd be a laugh.
Yeah, that could be a good one. I would probably go with Hellstorm Micah because he's a great guy. He's always down for a laugh. So, well, do you know what? I would like to do a 2 versus 2. So I'll do Hellstorm Micah Elliot and Hellstorm Micah versus maybe Winters and Liam.
Yeah.
Liam Dempsey. That could be a pretty fun one and stuff. All the banter in one room. I say, or Jake from Vanguard Tactics because he's an absolute legend, but he's a Tottenham fan, which lets him down.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
You're now well known for your Reclaim the Dawn custom chapter. What's the idea about starting your own chapter? Was it like you didn't quite want to join the Imperial Fist March, or you wanted something a bit different?
It was, I don't know, it was just something like I always looked at people who made their chapters because they always made them so broken and stuff. So I wasn't really a fan of fan made chapters at the start. But one day I was like, do you know what? I fancy doing my own. I woke up and said I want to do my own. I'm called Chapter Master Valrak, even though we're an Imperial Fist. Maybe I should become a chapter master of my own chapter. So I made the Reclaimers of Dawn, and yeah, it's just been doing the lore and stuff. I think it's been pretty cool, like trying to get the lore behind it, making your own worlds, getting artwork done and stuff like that. I think it's a really, really fun thing to do. Now that I've really thrown myself down into it, and hopefully the goal is to maybe try and get them added into the official lore. I don't think they'll ever do that, but if maybe one of the authors can mention the Reclaimers of Dawn without there, technically that means they're real, and that means Chapter Master Valrak is real. That means I am canon, and that means I'm the greatest Astarte that ever lived.
Well, that means it's now Games Workshop IP, and you have to close the channel.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're coming for me, right? Shut you down. But or that could be my inside to sue Games Workshop for taking my IP. Yeah. Then I become the commander of Games Workshop in the case, and then every week is Primaris week. Win.
And finally, the Executioner gets better rules, huh?
That's it. It gets the fly plus keyword. That means it can move double. It can go anywhere on the board. It can deep strike in, and the heavy laser destroyer gets to shoot 5 times. It's just great. I kill everything.
You're spreading out your hobby towards the Last Wall project. What's that involving?
The Last Wall is something. For those people who don't know, if you read the Beast of Isis series, Rogue Dawn put a protocol in that if Terra ever came under threat, then all the Sons of Dawn would come back and reform the Legion as one. And I always thought that was a really cool idea. And when I come to do my Imperial Fist, I was like, I fancy doing some Crimson Fist, but then it means I have to do a full force of Crimson Fist. I fancy doing some Black Templar, that means I have to do another round of Black Templars. What if instead I just said Last Wall protocol and get different elements from different chapters? Like, if I wanted to do Blade Guard, I can then paint them as Black Templars and then add them as the Last Wall protocol kind of thing, and do it that way instead of doing dedicated armies to it. And it's just grown from there now. I think I'm more or less half over the chapters that Dawn officially has, and I should be probably finished soon. To be fair, and I'll have one from every chapter.
So last few questions on gaming. You seem to be heading towards a Rock of Gibraltar, a true 40k fortress, to take on some of the biggest names in content production. Are you ready for this?
Yes and no. I think I've looked at who's going, and literally every single person who is going to that event does tabletop for a living. Vanguard Tactics, Tabletop Titans. Tabletop Tactics. They play this game week in, week out, probably day in and day out, right? For me, it's lucky if I get to play a couple of games a month and stuff. So I'm gonna go there. My goal is to at least win one game. And if I win one game, I'm gonna be happy. I'll be a happy chapper. As long as I don't bring home the wooden spoon, so all my subs will laugh at me because I'll never live it down. So hopefully someone else loses every game except me. Hopefully.
Have you ever been recognised in a non-gaming environment?
What's walking down the street in Manchester and stuff like that? I can't recall. When I go to Warmer World, people come up and speak to me and stuff like that. But yeah, just walking down the normal street, I don't think I'm that popular, to be fair. Like, I'm not a footballer or anything. So yeah, I don't think I've had that. Yeah, I think that would scare me if I was just walking on the street, someone stopped and said, "Oh my god, it's Chapter Master Valrak." I'm like, "Oh shit, what's going on here? Oh, I'm scared."
So Warhammer World is a bit of an experience, because you're wanting to go there and have a good time and buy more Imperial Fists, but people come up to you and say, "Hey, how you doing?" It's a bit surreal, is it?
Yeah. The thing is, I actually get a bit embarrassed with it, because I don't like when people say, "Can I have a picture with you?" I'm like I don't see myself as anything. I just see myself as a person that is probably like everyone else. I just enjoy Warhammer, right? So when people say, "Oh, can I get a picture of you?" I say, "Yeah." I'm not going to be like, "Oh no, get away from me," or anything like that. I say, "Yeah, sure." But I think to myself, like, do I deserve a picture? You're like that kind of mindset. It's nice speaking to. I love speaking to people, because again, interaction, meeting new people is the best. Like, I've had people come to me and say, I love your channel and stuff, and of course that's going to make you happy and give you a bit of confidence. I think it'll give anyone confidence and stuff. So yeah, it's nice meeting people like that and just meeting fans of the channel. So yeah, when I go to places like that and people come over, I think it's great. I think it's nice meeting people. Yeah, love it.
So where can people find you on the internet?
Find me. YouTube mainly my main two. I've got a Facebook group, but I don't really go on Facebook. Twitter, I don't really go on Twitter anymore. Instagram, I'm on Instagram a little bit, but I've got so many messages on there. It scares me from going on there. Like, I've got like unread, like nearly 150. I'm sorry, everyone, if you've messaged me. My Discord server for my Upper Hive, I get so many messages a day. I try to answer everyone back, because I don't do this as a living. It's not like I can sit here all day and like message everyone back. So I'm not trying to be ignorant or ignore you. It's just I'm getting through everyone, but more and more it gets added on and added on. So I say mainly Instagram and YouTube, and of course my Discord server for the Upper Hivers.
Final question: does pineapple belong on pizza?
It certainly does. I always get pineapple on pizza. It is the greatest tasting thing in the world. I actually convinced my sister-in-law the other day when I bought it, and she was like, "What's that on there?" I was like, "Pineapple, try it." And she's like, "Ooh, no." I said, "Just try it. You'll love it." And she tried it. She was like, "This is amazing." So I'm converting people daily now to the pineapple on the pizza. So yeah, all hail pineapple on pizza.
That's brilliant. So we're off to share a big cup of gravy together. Thank you very much for joining me today, Chapter Master Valrak.
No worries, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for the questions, and hopefully people have got some information if they wanted it. Yeah.
So that's it. Amazing interview, Chapter Master Valrak, a true legend from YouTube. And a massive thank you from me again for making it this far. This is actually Series 3 of the Community Spotlight. There are 2 more, which are in the playlists in the channel. If you like this, please consider us a sub. Take care until next time. I've been Matt, the Unprofessional Hobbyist. Take care.